Dr. Raiden was a quiet man who lived alone on Outpost Station 12. It was a small base on a dry and forgotten planet far from Earth. K was not a soldier, not a fighter, just a medic. His job was simple: take care of wounds, check supplies, and wait for calls that never came. The sky above was always red, the wind full of dust. Most people hated it here, but Raiden liked the silence until one night. Something changed. It was past midnight when the radar beeped. A fast object was falling from the sky, too fast to be a cargo ship. Raiden sat up, checked the screen, and saw smoke coming from Sector 9. That place was empty, nothing but rocks and canyons. He called command, but no one answered. He waited. But something inside told him not to ignore it. So he packed his medkit, grabbed his scanner, and took his rover into the dark. The drive was long, the wind howled, and the dust made it hard to see. After an hour, he found the crash site. A small alien ship lay broken in the sand, its metal bent and glowing. He moved slowly, careful with each step. Then he saw her, a girl. Lying half inside the wreckage, her skin was pale blue, her armor dark and shiny. Symbols on her chest showed she was not just any alien, she was someone important. She had a deep cut across her leg and another on her shoulder. Raiden knelt beside her, checked her pulse. It was weak, but there, just before she lost consciousness, she whispered in a soft voice, "Don't let them find me," she said. "Rebellion. Lies. Danger." Then she passed out. Raiden was confused. He had read about her kind. They were part of the Zarian Empire, a powerful alien race that didn't trust humans. What was she doing here? Why alone? Why injured? He had a choice: leave her or help her. Every rule told him to report this, but something inside him said no. He picked her up and put her in the rover. The drive back felt longer. Raiden kept checking the radar. Making sure no one followed, he entered the outpost through the back gate. Instead of the main med bay, he took her to his private lab underground. No cameras there, no questions. He worked for hours, cleaning her wounds, giving her fluids. Alien biology was tricky, but he had trained for it. Still, her healing was slow, too slow for a Zarian. He noticed a strange device under her skin near her neck. A limiter, maybe? Something was stopping her natural healing as he studied it. Her hand grabbed his wrist. Her eyes opened, sharp and glowing. "Who are you?" She asked weakly. "I'm Dr. Raiden," he said. "I found you in the desert." She looked around, saw the med tools, the lights. "You're human." She said, "You should have left me." Raiden stepped back. "You were dying," he said. "I couldn't." She stared at him for a long moment, then looked away. "I'm not safe here," she said. "They will come." "Who?" He asked. "My father's men." She said. "I ran away." She didn't say much after that, only that her name was Zealara, and that she was the daughter of the Zarian King. She didn't explain why she ran or what happened to her ship. Raiden didn't press. As night passed, he checked the outer scanners. Nothing unusual except one thing: a ship too small for cargo, too fast for patrol. It entered orbit and vanished from the radar. Raiden felt cold. Someone was looking for her, and now, someone might be looking for him too. He locked the doors, turned off all signals, if they came. He would lie, hide her, do whatever it took. He didn't know why, but he had made his choice. And deep down, he felt this was the beginning of something big. In the shadows outside, far beyond the hills, a figure watched the outpost through a scope. It tapped a button on its wrist and spoke quietly. "She's alive," the voice said. "I found her." The outpost was silent, but inside, everything had changed. Raiden had saved a life, but not just any life. He had brought danger into his home, and now it breathed in the bed below him. Lightning cracked across the red sky. Rain never came to this planet, only dry storms and electric flashes. In the soft blue light of the medbay, Zalara opened her eyes again. But this time, her gaze was sharper, colder, more aware. She sat up slowly, ignoring the pain in her leg. Raiden stepped closer. Holding a cup of water. "You need to rest," he said. She took the cup, but didn't drink. Instead, she looked around the room, her eyes scanning the walls, the lights, the exit. "Why did you help me?" she asked. Raiden crossed his arms. "You were bleeding, unconscious," he said. "I help people. It's what I do. I'm not people," she replied, her voice calm but heavy. "I'm the enemy, remember?" Raiden said nothing. She leaned back, winced, and touched the wound on her leg. Then she froze, her fingers feeling something strange under her skin. She looked at Raiden sharply. "Did you open this?" she asked, pointing to the device near her neck. "I saw it," Raiden said. "I didn't touch it." Zalara exhaled slowly. "That's a suppression chip," she said. "My body heals fast, too fast for your medicine. This chip blocks my cells. My father had it installed to keep me weak." Raiden looked surprised. "Your father?" he asked. She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'm the daughter of King Varric," she said. "Or at least, I was." Raiden stepped back. King Varric was known across the sector, a ruthless ruler, feared by humans and aliens alike. "What happened to your ship?" Raiden asked. Zalara looked down. "I stole it," she said. "I was escaping. I was supposed to meet someone, but I was betrayed." Raiden thought for a moment. "You're a rebel," he said. She didn't deny it. "I refuse to follow orders," she said. "My people are being used as weapons. My father calls it peace, but it's genocide." Raiden sat down across from her. "You're not safe here," he said. "Someone came last night. A small ship entered orbit, then disappeared." Zalara's eyes narrowed. "They'll send a hunter," she said. "Once they find my energy signal, they won't stop." Raiden got up and walked to a control panel. He tapped the screen and shut off all external power. "No signal, no heat signature," he said. "They won't find you easily." She looked at him with surprise. "You risked everything for me," she said. "Why?" "I don't like war," Raiden said, "but I hate tyrants even more." They sat in silence for a moment. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of backup lights. Suddenly, a red light blinked on the wall. Motion sensor, someone was near the outer fence. Raiden and Zalara both stood, alert. He handed her a cloak to hide her armor. "Stay here," he said. "I'll handle it." He walked up the metal stairs and stepped outside. Dust hit his face, the storm growing louder. Near the gate stood a figure, tall, thin, wearing black armor and a reflective mask. The figure raised a hand in greeting. "Peace, medic." The voice said through a speaker. "I'm looking for a crashed ship." "Something fell last night." Raiden forced a calm smile. "Haven't seen anything," he said. "Just dust and rocks." The figure tilted its head. "This area is restricted now," it said. "Orders from the Zarian Empire." Raiden didn't blink. "I follow Earth command," he said. "You're on the wrong side of space." The figure stepped closer, scanning with a wrist device. Raiden kept his hand near the hidden blaster under his coat. "I'll be back," the figure said. "You might remember something later." Raiden watched as the figure walked away and disappeared into the storm. Back underground, Zalara sat quietly. She had heard every word through the audio link. "They sent a shade, one of my father's personal hunters," she said. "If he reports back, more will come." Raiden nodded. "Then we need to move soon," he said. "No," Zalara said. Standing slowly, "We need to fight." Raiden looked at her. "In your condition." She stared at him, her eyes burning with purpose. "I didn't come this far to run again." The wind outside screamed like a warning. Inside the outpost, silence held its breath. Raiden stood still, eyes fixed on the screen. A faint signal blinked in the distance. Someone had placed a beacon, but it wasn't from the Zarian hunter. This signal was Earth-made. Raiden stepped back, confused and alert. Why would Earth's command send a beacon here without warning? Unless someone within already knew what he was hiding. Down in the lab, Thal'Ryx sat cross-legged on the floor. Her eyes closed, her breathing calm. She was using a deep focus method, Zarian body meditation. It helped speed up her healing, but the suppression chip still blocked her power. Raiden walked in, tense. "We have a new problem," he said. "Someone from my side might be working with your father." Thal'Ryx opened her eyes. "Then we're not just hunted from the sky," she said. "We're hunted from inside." Raiden nodded. "There's only one way to find out who," he said. He accessed the outpost's surveillance logs. Footage showed a cruise ship landing 2 days ago. Supply officer named Lieutenant Harvin had stayed behind. Raiden didn't trust coincidences. He knew Harvin wasn't scheduled to visit this zone at all. As night fell, Raiden left Thal'Ryx hidden, and when to confront Harvin, he found him near the CUM tower, typing into a private terminal. Raiden pretended to be casual. "Long shift, huh?" he said. Harvin jumped slightly, then smiled. "Yeah, just fixing some relay errors." Raiden's eyes flicked to the device on Harvin's belt. It was a Zarian translator chip. No Earth officer needed one out here. Raiden stepped closer. "Funny," he said. "I thought you didn't speak alien." Harvin's smile faded. "You should mind your own business." "Medic," he said. Raiden didn't wait. He punched the emergency switch and locked the door behind them. "You're the leak," he said. "You're working for the king." Harvin pulled out a small plasma blade. "You're smarter than you look," he said, but too late. Raiden dodged just in time. Grabbing a metal rod from the wall, the fight was short and brutal. In the end, Harvin lay unconscious, his blade shattered. Raiden searched his pockets and found a data drive it contained. Messages between Harvin and a Zarian hunter. They had planned to trap Raiden, use Thal'Ryx as bait, then hand her over. Raiden returned to the lab and handed the drive to Thal'Ryx. She read the messages with cold eyes. "My father must be desperate," she said. "He's using humans now." Raiden nodded. "We can't stay here," he said. "They'll be back soon, but I can't move far," she said. "Not with this chip inside me." Raiden thought hard. Then he remembered a place deep in the wastelands. Past the ridge of cinders, there was an old alien temple, long abandoned. Raiden had visited it once during a science mission. He remembered the carvings, the healing pools, the strange energy. "Maybe the answer is out there," he said. "A place old enough to know how to remove that chip." Thal'Ryx stood slowly, her face pale, but her voice firm. "If we go, we must go now," she said. "If the hunter finds this outpost empty, they'll know we're running Raiden-packed supplies, weapons, and the encrypted data." He also took Harvin's CUMs. Maybe they could use the enemy's own tools against them. As they left the outpost, Thal'Ryx looked back once. "This was the first place in my life where someone helped me without wanting power," she said. Raiden smiled. "Get used to it," he said. "Not all humans are the same." They drove into the red storm. Behind them, the outpost lights faded. Ahead of them lay sharp cliffs, broken earth, and buried secrets. They didn't know that far above, in orbit, the hunter was tracking their every move, and worse, a second ship had just entered the system. Not Zarian, not human, something else, and it was heading straight for them. In the silence between storms, they found the forgotten temple. It stood like a ghost in the desert, made of black stone and silver roots, half buried by time, shaped by wind and heat. To the sky, it looked like a scar. To Thal'Ryx, it felt like memory. "This place is Zarian," she whispered, "from before the Empire." Raiden looked around. The air was thick with static. Something ancient moved here, not with sound, but with feeling. Each step felt like walking through a dream that could turn into a nightmare. Inside the temple, they found old machines still breathing. Stone walls shimmered with glowing lines that responded to Thal'Ryk's touch as they walked deeper. Lights followed them. The tech didn't reject her. It welcomed her. They reached a chamber where a tall pillar pulsed with energy. A voice echoed in an ancient Zarian dialect. Thal'Ryk listened, then turned to Raiden. This place was built by exiles. She said aliens who escaped the first kings. They were healers, not warriors. She stepped onto the platform. And the pillar scanned her body. A soft chime rang. The suppression chip blinked red and deactivated. Raiden watched as her wounds closed faster. Her eyes brightened. It was like watching her wake up from a long sleep. Thal'Ryk exhaled. "I can feel my strength again," she said. "But it won't last long if they catch us." They spent the night in the temple's safe chamber. Raiden cooked dried food, and for the first time, Thal'Ryk smiled. A small moment, but real. "You don't talk like a soldier," she said. "I'm not one." Raiden replied, "I joined to heal, not to fight. Then why stay?" She asked. "You could have handed me over, taken a reward, gone home." Raiden thought for a while. "Maybe I stayed because I was tired of being safe," he said. "And maybe because I believe in what you're trying to do." That night, they spoke of Earth and Zarya, of ruined cities and childhood dreams, of music, of silence, of choices. A bond began to form. Not just alliance, but something more. But peace, never. The next morning, a signal cut through the sky. Not from the hunter, from the rebels. Thal'Ryk stared at the message in shock. "It's from my brother," she said. "He says he's alive and waiting to meet." Raiden raised an eyebrow. "The same brother who tried to kill you." She nodded slowly. "He says it was a mistake, that he was forced. He wants to talk." Raiden didn't trust it, but Thal'Ryk looked hopeful. "If there's a chance to fix what's broken, I have to try," she said. They followed the signal to a canyon lit by glowing moss and silent shadows. Her brother, Prince Thal'Ryn, stood waiting beside a sleek ship. He looked calm, dressed in black armor, but his eyes told another story, cold and unreadable. "Sister," he said, "you survived." Thal'Ryk walked forward cautiously. "You tried to silence me," she said. "You lied to father, told him. I betrayed the crown." Thal'Ryn's smile was thin. "Because I had to," he said. "You were going to destroy everything. You mean expose the truth?" She asked, "About the genocide. About the colony's father erased." Thal'Ryn stepped closer. "Our people don't need truth," he said. "They need order." Thal'Ryk turned to Raiden. "This is why I ran," she said. "To stop them from repeating history." Raiden reached for his scanner, but Thal'Ryn raised a hand, and behind him, 10 guards appeared from the rocks. Blasters ready, eyes glowing red. "It didn't have to be like this," Thal'Ryn said. "You should have stayed dead." Thal'Ryk's fists clenched, power glowing at her palms. Raiden moved to her side, blaster raised. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of options. Because Thal'Ryk had regained her strength and Raiden had a surprise. He tapped a button on his wrist. Harvin's stolen cum lit up and sent out a fake distress call in Zarian code to the rebel fleet. Hidden nearby, from above, a roar shook the sky. Ships dropped through the clouds like falling stars. Thal'Ryn's face twisted in rage. "You brought them here," he growled. "No." Raiden said. "She did." Thal'Ryk flew forward with speed and fury. The canyon exploded in light and sound. Ashes floated in the air like snow. The canyon was no longer quiet, no longer still. Where there was once betrayal and fire, now there was only smoke, dust, and the humming sound of rebel engines. Thal'Ryk stood with her back to the fire, her armor scorched, eyes fierce. Her brother was gone, taken by the rebels, alive but silent. He hadn't spoken a word since capture. Raiden watched her from a distance. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just stood there, like stone, the rebel commander. A rough-looking alien named Captain Thal'Ryx stepped forward. "You saved a war," he said to Raiden. "But you also started a bigger one." Raiden didn't answer. His mind was somewhere else, stuck on the message he had received before the battle. It was from Earth Command, a private file, coded and marked Level 7. It said, "If you are with the alien girl, terminate her immediately. We cannot afford peace with her kind. You will be rewarded or punished based on your choice." Raiden had deleted the message without replying, but the words still echoed in his head. He turned to Zalara as the rebels loaded prisoners onto ships. "We need to leave this place," he said. "They'll come for me now." She looked at him carefully. "You still have a way out," she said. "Earth's command will protect you if you give me up." Raiden shook his head. "I already made my choice," he said. They followed the rebels to a hidden base, deep inside a canyon, covered by storm clouds. It was built into the rocks, invisible from the sky, powered by stolen Zarian cores. Inside, Raiden saw something he hadn't seen in years. Hope, humans, aliens, even old machines, all working together. No orders, no kings. No flags, only survival, only truth. Zalara was greeted like a lost legend. She gave orders, but she listened to. She was not a princess here. She was a rebel, a fighter, a voice. Raiden began helping in the medbay. He treated rebels with broken bones, burned skin, damaged minds. He didn't wear a uniform anymore, just gloves and a heartbeat. But peace never stayed long. Not in times like this. One night, while scanning wounded rebels, Raiden found something strange in the blood. Samples a trace chemical, one used only in Zarian mind-tracking tech. Someone inside the base was leaking locations, he told Zalara, in private. "We have a traitor," he said. "They're marking people without their knowledge." Zalara clenched her jaw. It could only be done by someone with access. She said medical staff or high command. Raiden looked at her with a heavy expression. "It could be me," he said. "Earth Command still has a link to my old chip." Zalara froze for a second. "You think they're using you?" she asked. Raiden nodded. "It's possible," he said. "If that's true, I'm putting everyone here in danger." There was a long silence. Then she said the words he feared most. "Then you need to leave." Raiden stood still. He wasn't angry. He understood, but she wasn't finished. Or, she said. "We removed the chip." Raiden frowned. "It's Earth tech," he said. "Military grade, tied to my brain." Zalara walked to the old terminal and pulled up rebel files. "There's someone who can do it," she said. "An exile, deep in the steel jungles of Gryanine, but the journey there is almost suicide." Raiden looked at her. "If I go," he said, "and it works, what happens then?" Zalara looked away. "Then you come back," she said softly, "not as a medic, not as a tool, but as one of us." Raiden took a deep breath. He remembered quiet days on Earth, clean halls, white lights. Easy choices, but now he stood in the one. Dark, and this place, full of fire and broken things, felt more honest, more alive. He nodded. "Tell me how to get there," he said, as she gave him the coordinates. A storm began to rise again. Outside, thunder shook the cliffs, but inside Raiden's chest, it was clear this wasn't the end. This was the line, the point of no return. Asterisk, the planet Gryanine was not on any tourist map. It was a place Earth forgot. And the Zarian Empire feared a dead world full of sharp towers, rusted machines, and shadows that moved without sound. Raiden stood at the edge of a broken bridge. Staring into the steel jungle, his breath was slow, steady. Every step forward was a step away from his old life. Zalara had given him a small tracker. One signal, one chance. "If you fail," she had said, "don't try to come back." Not because she didn't care, but because failure here would lead death straight to the rebel base. Raiden walked alone through metal forests. Through hallways with blinking red lights, old security drones watched him pass, but didn't stop. Somewhere deep inside, the exile waited. They called him Mirak, once a Zarian scientist, now forgotten like the ruins around him when Raiden found him. He was sitting beside a fire made of burning wires. His face was covered with tech scars, and his left eye was a lens that clicked as it focused. "You want to break your chain?" Mirak said without looking up. Raiden nodded. "Earth Command used me." He said, "They can track me, even control me. Then let's cut the wire." Mirak replied, "But you should know, this will hurt." What followed was not a surgery, not a healing. It was a war inside Raiden's head. His hands shook, his heart raced. Memories flashed like lightning. Earth training, loyalty tests. Silent orders, all trying to fight back, but Raiden didn't stop. He had made his choice, and choices had cost when it was done. He opened his eyes slowly. The pain faded, and for the first time in years, the silence inside his mind was real. "You're free now," Mirak said. But freedom doesn't wait, as Raiden left Grianin. A message came through on Zalara's signal, 3 words only. "They found us." He returned to the rebel base without rest. Ships were falling. From the sky, the King's armada had arrived. The rebels were ready, but they were outnumbered. Zalara stood at the center, armor glowing, voice calm. Raiden joined her, no longer a medic, no longer hiding. "You came back." She said, "I had to," he replied. "You're not the only one fighting for something real." The final battle began. Zarian hunters dropped from the clouds. Dark as smoke, blasters lit up the sky. Rebel cannons shook the rocks. Raiden moved through the chaos like a ghost, healing. Fighting, shielding, he had learned from war, but he was still a man of care. In the center of the storm, a ship landed huge, silent, full of hate. The door opened, and King Varric stepped out. His voice was like stone grinding steel. "Daughter," he said. "Come home." Zalara stepped forward. "I am home," she said, "and I'm not your weapon." Raiden saw the power build in Varric's gauntlet, a weapon that could erase an army. Without thinking, he ran, not away, toward the king. He jumped, rolled, reached the gauntlet just as it fired. A blast of energy tore through the sky. But Raiden redirected it, using a stolen Zarian shield core. The beam exploded into the cliffs, burying enemy ships under falling stone. The battlefield froze. Varric turned to face him. "You," he said. "You're just a human, Raiden." Stared back, "Not just," he said. "I'm the one who stopped your silence before the king could strike again." Zalara attacked. Power flowed through her, brighter than fire. Father and daughter clashed in the air, rage against hope, control against freedom. It ended with a single scream, not of pain, but release. Varric fell, armor broken, eyes wide. He did not beg, he simply vanished in the smoke. The rebels stood in silence. It was over. Not the war, but the rule of fear. Zalara walked to Raiden. Her hand touched his shoulder. "We won a battle," she said, "but now we must build something better." Raiden looked at the sunrise rising through the ash. "I didn't come here to lead," he said, "but maybe. I stayed to believe." The sky above was no longer burning. The warships had left, the storms had passed. But peace was not quiet. It was heavy, full of memories. Ashes still floated in the air. Not from fire, but from change. Raiden sat on a broken ledge, overlooking. The rebel camp tents had turned into homes, weapons into tools. Wounds were healing, not just in skin, but in trust. The war was not over everywhere, but here, something new had started. Zalara stood at the top of the cliff, watching the horizon. She no longer wore the crest of a king. Now she wore the mark of a builder. A leader, one chosen by those she saved, not crowned by blood, when she walked down to him. Raiden looked up with a tired smile. "You should be celebrating," he said. "You won." Zalara shook her head. "I didn't win," she said. "We survived." She sat beside him, and for a while, they watched the twin suns rise. No words. Just breath and wind and something deep, unspoken. Then she reached into her belt and pulled out a crystal. It shimmered with green and gold light. Small, but powerful. This belonged to the first Zarian who refused to kneel. She said he was a healer too. She placed it in Raiden's hand. "This is for you," she said. Not a reward, not a medal, a key. Raiden turned it in his fingers. "What does it open?" he asked. She smiled. "Wherever you choose to go," she said. "This crystal will give you access to rebel worlds. Hidden archives, sealed doors. It will tell those who meet you that you are one of us." Raiden was silent. He had expected. Maybe a ship, or a thank you. But this was a path. "I don't know where I belong anymore," he said quietly. Zalara looked at him with calm eyes. "You don't have to choose today," she said. "But know this, Earth will send others." Raiden nodded. "Some will want to help," he said. "Others will want to burn everything. Then we need people who can stand between." She said, "People like you." The wind picked up. And somewhere below, children laughed. A sound that hadn't been heard in this canyon for years. Raiden stood, the crystal still warm in his hand. "I never asked for this," he said. Zalara stood beside him. "But you answered anyway," she said. "That's why it matters." He looked at her one last time. Not as a princess, not as a rebel, but as someone who had become his compass. She held out her hand, and he shook it firmly. Not goodbye, not forever. Just for now. Raiden walked toward the landing pad, where a rebel scout ship waited, not back. To Earth, not to war, but forward into whatever came next. As the ship rose into the sky, Zalara whispered something only the wind could hear. "Stay human, Raiden," she said. "That's your true power, and far above, among stars that were no longer silent, the future waited with open hands." The end.